All right, welcome everyone to the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival 2021 Q&As. I am Michaela Almendoz, and thanks for joining us. This year, our full program will be screened online from September 22nd to the 28th, with our new media exhibition available online and in person at Grandison Lab Belmont today and tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So feel free, those watching us live, to comment and ask any questions you have for the filmmakers, and we will try to answer them during the session. And of course, don't forget to check out the films at our website, ttfilmfestival.com. We'd also like to thank all our TTFF 21 sponsors and partners. NGC is our signature sponsor this year, and we have leading sponsorship from Shell Trinidad and Tobago and Republic Bank Limited. All right, so today I have with me, we have Herrera from Bantu Mama, Shaun Escayg from Ikarus, and Shane Leakett from Hangjack. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us. All right, so let's get to it. So all three of these films seem to center around women and have women as some sort of protagonists or driving forces for the action. And so a question for all of you is, why was that a choice for you? Why did you give the women these roles in the film? And let's start with Shaun.
I'd say I'm inspired by strong women in my life, right? My mom, grandparents, or grandmothers, I should say in particular, that raised me, took care of me. And it's, I guess, a voice I have not seen enough of, and a perspective I've not seen enough of. Women with ambition, strong, ready to take on the odds. And I think it's an important message. I'd like to permeate, with my platform, and inspire hopefully young women like, my daughter and future, generations to see themselves as these particular roles, and that they can have a strong enough voice that they feel or represent them, or have heroes that represent them, or see themselves in certain situations that they can overcome. And I think women of color, minorities, any platform I have that I can showcase them, I take great pride in doing so.
And Yvonne, what about you? What was your choice in having a woman be the center?
Oh, there's many reasons, and actually by hearing Shaun, you can identify, because it's probably we have similarities. I mean, I grew up with my mother. I have my two daughters, so surrounded by females, and also for us to tell stories. We're looking for characters that you don't see them doing things, or you don't see them things happening. So most of the times it's like, we want to bring that equality. And when I think about a character, when I think about something interesting happening, if you put any situation happening between a man and a woman, it will be much more interesting to happen for a woman most of the time, because of that as well, because of you haven't seen that much. You haven't seen that is, we're all the same. We have the same issues. But another main reason is because I co-wrote the film with Clarice. She's an actress. She's my wife. So it was a very intimate film, and it was a film about that she was going to perform. So it all just came together.
What about you, Shane?
Well, just like Shaun and Ivan, I was also raised by strong women. But really and truly, a female protagonist in my film, the main reason would be for the topic sex trafficking. And just to give that perspective from an immigrant who's experiencing this within our country.
And so in your film, Shane, you use all fours, and it's a high-stake games of all fours. What made you want to use that in the film? I mean, bring something that's so, common with all of us. All fours is something you play all the time, and it's jokes and kicks, but to bring that stakes to it. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the thing is that there aren't much films about all fours are there, or featuring something so close to us culturally, especially for our pastimes. So I don't know, it just came naturally that how it would be a card game for something at high stakes like that.
And Shaun, so your film Ikarus is, I mean, sci-fi. There's some great effects in it. What was that process like for you? I mean, I know you've worked on some other films that you've used similar, effects and stuff for, but you brought that to Trinidad and you filmed, I believe, a lot of it, if not all of it, here. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, we shot most of it. I would say 90% of it in Trinidad, which I mean, it's part of my voice, right? And I love shooting there. I love getting essence or parts of the essence of what makes, even just visually things different. The light, the vegetation, everything about, and part of it is very selfish. It's a nostalgia type thing too, for me to bring and have a connection to the story that I'm telling. Yeah, I love shooting in Trinidad for that reason. And I love using, I guess, very visceral elements like the jungles, the forests. Like, we're in another meeting or another interview with Stephen, and he was like, the razor grass was a thing that stuck with him when he finished shooting, because it was so in your face, and it's a different feel, I guess, or groundedness for me that I connect to, even just the uncomfortableness of the film, right? That the setting is very almost a character in the film. In terms of VFX and CGI, I wanted to bring those two worlds together, right? I've historically, my foundation is in the VFX industry, but having, again, the hope is to inspire young filmmakers like I was, to see that you could still use your home can have these VFX. It's not this foreign place. It's actually a built environment. It's a vision that you create in your head, and to see and project that sort of landscapes, tones, smells, sights, everything that we capture on film, that you can bring that into sort of a sci-fi space, that we have a future, a space, a voice in that space, and seeing or expanding on those possibilities, essentially.
Yeah, great. And so, Ivan, for Bantu Mama, I just want to ask about the decision to have kids taking the protagonist as opposed to another woman or a man or an elder. Tell me a bit about that choice.
I
think we need to.
Yeah. Sorry, can I hear? Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, of course. So, just asking about the decision to have kids taking the protagonist. Yeah, tell me a bit about that choice.
Well, because the film, it was important to have those kids, and of course, as you write the story, you start to make questions about where are you putting the character and which situations and where, and we came up with kind of it was a parallel or mostly reminiscence of Snow White and the Seven Dwarf, right? So we wanted to have a little bit of that, and we thought about rescuing, because she's been rescued by these three kids or two minors, and it was just that similarity, and we wanted to bring out again those voices from the most vulnerable. It's, these are real kids. These are not actors. These are people that live in that environment where we shoot, that have a lot of realities that we portrayed in the film, even if we portrayed it in a very subtle way. This is like the really ambience, and we wanted to go and explore there and tell a story where they live, right? So there were many things in consideration to have kids, but yeah, we wanted she to be rescued by kids. But not only that, she also, the main character, has some issues and has some things that she needs to resolve. And by connecting with the kids, you know, it's a perfect equation, right? Because she needs something from those kids, but also those kids need something from the character. So it was since the beginning we knew that it was a film about that exchange with kids, and very important as well because the character, since she's an Afro-European woman getting into this country, into this neighborhood in the Caribbean, where there's a lot. I think there's a lack of information about where we're coming from, and she brings this knowledge, and I think I was that kid at a certain point. So for me, it was like to have these lessons that I had in my life. She's bringing those lessons to the kids about identity and you know, their heritage.
Bringing it a bit full circle, yeah. So yes, Shane, my next question is for you. So you briefly mentioned, you know, your film is about a Venezuelan woman and bringing an immigrant story to the forefront. Was there a certain pressure you felt telling a story like that because of the climate that we're in right now? And also, what takeaway do you want viewers, especially in Trinidad, to have from watching your film?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's such a taboo subject, sex trafficking by itself, but also has sort of become like a norm if you think about it. Like we was hearing about sex trafficking constantly in Trinidad. Bars, you just driving around and you're hearing, oh, but that's actually a brothel in disguise, or something along those lines, and you're still able to operate even though so many people might know about it. The challenge about bringing that and about making a film about that particular topic, it's just like how people would receive it, because there's by no way I wanted to show her as a victim. So for instance, it seems as if story-wise it may seem like if Jared Battiste's character, who plays Sam, may see a sort of like the princess locked in a castle sort of thing, but really and truly, you know, people aren't really like that in a sort of way. I don't believe that's how you should, unless it's authentically story, not really have people have a sort of victim mentality, because it could promote certain stereotypes and so forth. Yeah, and I guess that was about it.
We're bringing some power back into it. Yeah. And so, Shaun, I mean, one takeaway I got from Ikarus is it left me wanting a bit more. Do you have any plans of expanding the story, of expanding the kind of universe that you created there?
Yeah, I mean, Ikarus is, I mean, it's a study of the cost of ambition, right? And it's a small sort of section of a much larger project that I'm working on. Yes, but you know, the characters are, you know, again exploiting that the cost of it. Like it again, I kind of go back to sort of where that idea was birthed, which is my own journey as, say, leaving Trinidad and coming to the US, working in the industry, spending hours away from, you know, loved ones, and putting in time and effort to try to make it, right? And what does that mean, really? And that's kind of the whole premise of the film. So there's a pie in the sky, if you think of it. Ikarus is an immigration story, just so that we all are clear, even though it's a sci-fi backdrop, right? It is that grass is greener on that side. I'm here, and I can only truly sort of reach my goals by going there, right? And that's the same. It's a small story of the you know, the two siblings hunting these drones, and it's a bigger story or a bigger lesson for us as a society, right? Like, what is that reach, and what are the costs? Who will we step on to get what we want? And is it worth it? Are we really truly that better off? Right. So I'm very excited about developing it, and it's already sort of in development with, you know, a studio, but it's hopefully it gets there. I mean, I've been down this road several times, so I hate saying this, but We all know how.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
There is
Well, on that,
and then development.
Well, on that as well, I mean, I was wondering about, so you mentioned, it's about immigrant stories and these other social issues. What was the choice in making it a sci-fi film to explore those topics?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we think of immigration as a very immediate thing, right? It's now, or it's it's on the Mexican border, or it's in Venezuela, Trinidad, right? But the truth is, we've always immigrated from somewhere to somewhere else, as early back as mankind, right? Like as from great civilizations fall, new civilizations of birth, and everyone moves, and that's part of why and how we are what we are, right? Like it is part of our what we deem cultural or heritages, and all this stuff is all blended, and we're all pretty much the same, although we like to see ourselves as very separate or boxed in culturally, race-wise, religious-wise, pretty much the same. We're just tribes. So it never stops is the point of the story. To set it in a sci-fi world was to say, this is going to continue. And no matter how far you think you separated yourself, if you're the ones who want separation, or no matter how far you think you have to reach if you're the one feeling separated, that game there's no winning that game, right? There's no right answer to that game, which is the cost of ambition, the cost of immigration, or whatever it is you're seeking, whatever that grass is greener version of it. There's no winning. And it continues, and it's in the sci-fi world, even in the best version of it. In this particular case, it's a space colony that was supposed to be for everyone, but has been sort of controlled by the rich and the wealthy. So, even though the goal was, or the intent was very noble, that human flaw, if you will, of greed and desire and ambition and all that stuff, which is things that make us who we are as well, has still created this separation and will continue to create that separation. And that's, in some ways it's a little bleak, but I think the setting is bleak, and what makes it hopeful is that desire of the character and the strength and resolve of those characters in that world. And their ability to never stop fighting for what they want. So
to keep going, to keep pushing.
Yeah, I guess the sci-fi is just the canvas that says this perpetuates, to answer the one sentence.
All right. Well, I think we just have time for maybe one more question. So I think I'll ask something of each of you. But if you could describe, if you could describe your film in 3 words, what would you choose? 3 words. Let's start with you, Yvonne.
I would say reconciliation, love, and family.
Yeah. And what about you, Shane? Or do you need a little more time?
I guess I was love, naivety, and I guess it's 2 words here, on harsh reality, I guess. Sort of cheated there, sorry.
I'll allow it, don't worry. And what about you, Shaun?
3 words. I would say ambition, costs, and I would say family.
Great. I mean, if those 9 words don't make you want to watch these films, I don't know what, because definitely encapsulated it. So thank you guys for joining us for this Q&A. It was so nice to speak to the 3 of you about your films. And everybody watching, I hope this has helped get you excited to watch these films. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, you can still catch all of these as they are screening today until midnight. So check out the ttfilmfestival.com website, where you can find all the information on how to buy tickets and check out the next few films coming up as well. because we are here till Tuesday, the 28th. And so thanks for joining us, and stick around for some of the other great Q&As that are happening today. Thanks, everybody.
Ciao. Thank you.